flag, bust your tech, get your cash. We from Brooklyn, it's all crooks in the Brook fam. To get rich quick, all it takes is a jukes, man. I've been real, no games I'm playing. Grew up in the same street, Killer Ben got his name in. Been a thug ever since Big Daddy King had the Volvo on some flat top rope chain shit.
Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. This is sort of a sample shopping episode, but not sponsored by Decant Shop this week. This is one that I'm doing for a friend of mine, Carlos Powell. Carlos is a member of the Good Smellers, and he has a YouTube channel, which I'll link to, Brooklyn Fragrance Lover. And he has a really wonderful Facebook group called Peace, Love, and Perfume. And I'm a member of quite a few of these groups, so it's hard for me to really contribute to any one group. But I like Carlos's group because you can learn a lot about indie houses there. A lot of indie perfumers are members of that group, and Carlos actually collaborates with perfumers on fragrances themed on the group, and he's worked with quite a few indie houses on these collections, and he sent me a bunch of them, I think 8 or 9 in total. And up to that point, I had not smelled anything from these houses, but I knew of all of them and was interested in all of them. And for brevity, today I'm going to talk about my favorite 3 of the group and let you know how you can check them out. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is from Dawn Spencer Harwitt, DSH Perfumes. She's a perfumer out in Boulder, Colorado. She has a website that you really can get lost in. I mean that in a good way. To say she's prolific is really not doing her justice. And this one, I sprayed this one on, and within 2 minutes it went on my to-buy list. It's called Perfume / the PLP Project, and the note breakdown on this one is grapefruit, rhubarb, cognac, basil, something called pittosporum, jasmine, ambret, gaiac and vetiver. And what I like about this one is that the grapefruit in the opening is really sparkling and effervescent. It's a twist on an eau de cologne, but really updated and quite sophisticated. Now, under the sparkling fruit, you have this greenness of the basil. I don't really sense the cognac in this one. For me, it's fruity, it's green, and it dries down to a really lovely, sweet, sort of a musky base. I think this is going to be a tremendous spring and summer scent. And if you, like me, love grapefruit fragrances, and I just really haven't found one that I like and lasts a long time. I love the Hermes Pamplemousse Rose. I love the Guerlain Pamplemousse, but for me, they just really don't last that long. This one actually does last a long time on my skin, and you can get a sample vial of this one for $5, a deluxe sample vial for $14, or a 10 ml spray for $48. So I'm gonna link, as I said, below to each site, each perfumer's site. But man, what a great grapefruit scent this one is. So bravo to DSH Perfumes for that one. The next one I want to talk to you guys about is one called New York Man by En Voyage. And this one, I'm going to be honest, En Voyage, New York Man is my favorite from that Carlos sent me. En Voyage was a house that I really did have on my radar prior to receiving this fragrance, because they have a scent called Go Ask Alice, which was inspired by, I guess, well, the book, which is a lot of people think a farce, but also the late 60s peace movement and flower children and marijuana smoking. So I've really been meaning to blind buy that one. En Voyage is a house that I'll also, again, link to in the description, started by a woman named Shelley Waddington on the West Coast. She's also the author of a book called Perfuming with Natural Isolates, so she's quite a bit of technical knowledge. There are a lot of notes on this one, so let me just give you a few. Incense, myrrh, cannabis flower, natural oud, ambergris, cedar, scotch, and cigars. And guys, wow, this one is fantastic. I mean, really, really fantastic. I smell a lot of niche scents every year. Nasamato, Roja Dove, Amouage, Zerjov. This is an excellent, complex, animalic, woody, aromatic perfume. Reminds me a bit of a niche version of Tom Ford Extreme or Jean Varvatos Vintage. Just this beautiful blend of these very intense notes. I get a boozy sort of dried fruit vibe with the oud and tobacco and spices. This is something that I could have seen like Frappin putting out. It's so layered and it's so complex. It comes in one size, a 1/4 ounce, so 7.5 ml for $35. And to me, that price point is fantastic. It makes it accessible really to any budget, and this is a great cold weather fragrance, definitely on my to buy list. I actually want to review this one down the road, so I'm not going to give the show away just yet, but wow is all I can say. This is sort of like, it's almost gourmand. It's just like, this one really blew me away. So Voyage New York Man. And then final one I want to talk to you guys about is from a house called CJ Scents, owned by a woman named Candace Jerko. And I'm really excited because she's sending me some samples, so by the time you see this video, I might already have them, and I'm going to do a full video on this house. These are very highly concentrated scents, and the one she did for Carlos is called Perfume. The notes on Perfume are orange blossom, myrrh, musk, blood orange, and a couple of secrets. Now, this one comes in a 15 ml spray, Parfum concentration, very reasonable, $25, and I love this one as well. It's a really clean, it's really fresh, and the notes that stand out to me the most here are like this gorgeous orange blossom and blood orange together. It actually reminds me a little bit of Neo by Xerjoff, and it's got that really crisp citrus scent. Sometimes these scents, and sometimes ones that specifically contain petitgrain, can almost have a greenness to them and a mineral-like quality, like Imaginary Author's Mosaic, and I love how authentic and juicy this one feels. The mix of the orange blossom with the blood orange is really striking. Again, this is another one that to me is a luxurious take on an eau de cologne, but this one also has myrrh and musk in the base, so there's some heft in this fragrance, and this one goes for a while on my skin. I could see this being a summer go-to for a lot of fragrance heads out there, and again, at this price point, it's like, why not just pick this one up? This woman has a scent on her site called Boo, which contains pumpkin, blood orange, and sandalwood. How good does that one sound? So guys, if you haven't checked out CJ Scents, you're really missing out, and all these indie perfumers in general. You know, I'm excited because my first collaboration fragrance, Maxed Out, is going to be coming out with 4,160, coming out by 4,160 Tuesdays this fall. And you know, you hear me say this a lot, guys, and I'm going to reiterate it again. If you really want the cutting edge of perfumery, you kind of have to go to the indie houses, because you know what the designers are doing. You kind of always know what they're doing. They always follow a trend. Now that trend seems to be making parfum or intense versions of their hit fragrances. And what, to me, a lot of the time the niche does at this point is just sort of making better versions of those scents. There's so many niche scents to me that just smelled like dialed up versions of designer scents with a lot better materials. That's not to say there's no innovation going on in niche, because there's 50 houses I could name that are doing niche the right way and making original scents. But when you go to the indie level and you look at houses like Voyage and CJ and DSH and 4,160 Tuesdays and Imaginary Authors, these are the people who are taking the risks and really going out there and making fragrances that are different and unique and of a very high quality, and they're selling them in different formats than other places. You know, you're seeing smaller bottles sold for better prices. A lot of the times the middlemen are eliminated. A lot of overhead is cut out of the price. So you're getting these very high quality fragrances for very wallet friendly prices. So if you want to know, if someone was saying to me, they wanted to get into fragrances and they were like, you know, where do I sort of see the trends? Well, you see the trends in designer and you see the trends in niche, but where you see the innovation, where you see the pioneers, is in the indie perfumers, and that's where, to me, all the risk is taken, and you really get art. You get artful fragrances. Look, guys, let's be honest. Niche houses like Le Labo and Frederic Malle are being bought up by cosmetic companies, and that's not to say that they're going to turn to shit and, you know, we're going to be left without good niche houses. That's not true. And I think every fragrance, or at least a lot of fragrance owners' dreams are to, you know, be able to sell their company for a lot of money and still have creative control. Hopefully Frederic Malle will be able to do that. But with that said, you know, these guys aren't beholden to shareholders. They're not beholden to profit margins. They're beholden to their profit margins. So they want to make the best sense for the best price possible because they want to eat, or, you know, they want to be successful. But with that said, they don't have to go to a creative director and have a board shoot down their fragrances. You know, when Jean-Claude Elena took the job at Hermes, you know, one of the things he said is he just wanted to answer to the president of a company directly. He didn't want to have anyone over him that was going to be able to nix his fragrances. And it's great that he pulled that deal off, but not many people do. He did because he was Jean-Claude Elena. So my point is, and I'm rambling and I get that, but these are the type of places you need to look if you want innovation, quality and good prices. It's the only place in perfumery you're going to find it, and these three brands are really classic examples of what I'm talking about. So please check them out. The links are in the description, and specifically check these fragrances out. Check out my friend Carlos's channel, and check out his fragrance group on Facebook, Peace Love Perfume. I'll see you guys again real soon. I obviously am Maximilian. I must know, and you will hear more about
Watch his ass pissing his Louis Vuitton briefs. I rock charms like I'm Louis Vuitton's niece. Step out the Lamborghini truck and my Louis Vuitton sneaks. I'm a maid girl. Who you think you're dealing with? My 718 fleet look like a dealer.